Hello, this is Zeke with TerryTown RV. Today we're going to be going over the Seismic 359. We'll start off here at the front with your hitch. Your salesman's going to go over that with you on pickup day, showing you how to hook up and everything. So that's not something I'm going to go over in this video, but we'll start down here. Get your hydraulic pump in here. I just want to make sure with that reservoir is full, and then check those fittings every once in a while to make sure that there's no leaks. Usually it's pretty obvious if you have a leak because you'll see red fluid dripping down there, because sometimes when you go down the road those bolts get shaken loose. So you just want to make sure that they are tightened down and ready to go. And then over here we have the generator. Start stop switch is back behind this panel, but you also have one inside, so you don't need to go back there to start and stop it, but you'll hold stop for 5 seconds to prime it and then hold start until it fires up. Over here is where your batteries are going to go, storage for 2, and then this red key is your battery disconnect. So when you can't pull it out, that means those batteries are on. Give it a twist, pull it out, that would cut the power off to the batteries, and then push in and twist back to the right, and those are back on again. Up underneath the front cap here is the light switch for your blue LED lights here on the front. And then over here in this door we have your first propane tank. Twist to the left to open, twist to the right to close, and then you have your switch over valve right here. It's just a black knob on top. Twist it away from yourself to use the other tank on the other side. Twist it towards yourself to use this tank right here. And then there is a little indicator on there that is red that turns green once gas is in the line. So if it was green while this was open and then turns to red, that's, you know, the tank's empty. You gotta switch over to the other one. In here is your water bay. And before we run any water, we're gonna take a look at our water heater. So we're gonna take our anode rod first, install it into here, hand tighten it first, and then tighten it down with a 1 1/16 socket. Once it's in there nice and tight, then you're good to run your water. So you'll come here. If you have a spigot on the site that you're gonna be running water directly from, you'll take your hose, plug it in, and then bring it to here. Plug into your city water connection right here, and just make sure your knobs are turned to city water, which they are right now. Plug your hose into here, and then turn the water on, and that's gonna run water directly to the faucets, sinks, showers, toilets inside, as well as to the water heater. First, the water heater has to fill up though, so as that water is running, this tank's gonna start to fill. As it fills, I like to leave the hot side of my sink open inside. That way any air pressure that's built up in this as it fills is released as it fills up. You know it's full once water's coming out of the hot side of that sink in a smooth stream. Otherwise, beforehand, it's just gonna be lots of air. But once that's coming out of the hot side of the sink in a smooth stream, you're good to turn this on. You can do that inside. It's a gas and electric water heater, so both those switches are located on your panel, and I'll show you those later on. If you're staying somewhere that does not have direct water hookup, you'll fill up your fresh tank when you get there. So you'd use the tank fill setting. So twist this blue knob straight down, and you use the same connection. Twisting these knobs is just changing where that water's going to. So you plug into here, turn that water on, and that is going to fill up your fresh tank. You can watch those tank levels inside on your monitor panel. It's going to show you how full it's getting. That way you know when to come out here and shut that water off. Once it's full, then you come back out here and change it to dry camp. That's going to change where the water pump draws the water from. So twist this white, not the white one, twist this green one down and blue to the right, and then turn your water pump on. You can do that from here. You can also do that from the inside, but that'll turn that pump on to draw water from the fresh tank and pump it to your sinks, showers, faucets, toilets, and to the water heater. Other things down here are for winterization, and I will go over those towards the end of the video. Up here is your outside shower, hot, cold, and this blue curly hose plugs into there so you can rinse things off. And then this red dial here is your water heater bypass. You'll put your water heater on bypass when you're winterizing, because that keeps the antifreeze from getting into there. That's the position it's in right now. So before you were to fill it up, just make sure that it is off a bypass. That way when you run water, water's actually going to be going into here. And then wait for it to be filled before you turn it on. Always make sure the water heater is full before you turn it on. Otherwise, you could just end up heating up that tank. And since the water lines connected to it are plastic, they can melt and ruins them, and they can cause leaks then if you were to forget to turn it off. Anyways, going on, down here is the black and the gray tank pulls. So to drain these, you pull out towards yourself. To close them, push them in. Black is the holding tank for the toilet, and gray is the holding tanks for sinks and showers. So when you're draining these out, I like to do my black tank first. That way when I drain my gray, it helps to rinse my sewer hose out. You do also have a black tank flush right here. and you plug your hose in here, turn the water on, and that shoots water into the black tank via a sprinkler head to help rinse off the sensors and the sidewalls and push anything else that's stuck in there out. And that's all going to come out of this drain right here. And then right there, kind of tucked up underneath here, is your fresh tank drain where those two hoses are coming out of. You pull this valve here to drain the fresh tank out, push it in to close it. And then the last thing in here is your leveling panel to turn it on. Press the power button. If you hold the front, that's going to raise the front end. If you hit retract and hold the front, that's going to lower the front end. Same thing for the left, right, and the rear jacks. Hitting retract and holding them will run those up. And if you just hold them without pressing retract, that's going to run them down. So essentially, once you get to your campsite, you're going to power this on and adjust the front so you can get off and pull your truck away. And then you'll just hit auto level, and that's going to run all the jacks down and level the unit front to back and left to right. That takes about 3 or 4 minutes. If you're walking around inside while it's doing so, it'll take a little longer because you're going to throw it off its calibration. And since you do have the hydraulic jacks, I like to plug my unit into the 50 amp service and have the batteries on. That way I can get the most amount of power to move these jacks. Usually makes it go a little faster and helps you protect the system from just conking out on you. So I like to have my batteries on as well when I am running that. Other things that you got on here, if you click the up arrow, you get 2 different functions. You have manual level. If you were to do that, you hit enter, and that's just going to allow you to do front, right, left, rear adjustments, which you can basically do without even going into manual level. Next, you have auto retract. When you press that, that runs all of the back jacks all the way up, as well as the front jacks all the way up. So that's the one you would use when you're hooked up to your truck. Auto retract is also a good way to reset the system if it was throwing a fault code. You just want to make sure that your slides are in and that there's nothing underneath the unit, because it's going to dive bomb all the way down. But usually that's how you'll reset it if you have a fault. And then you just run the front end back up and then hit auto level, and you should be good. Next one is auto hitch. That's the one you're going to use after you're done camping. So after you pressed auto level, you camped, and then you're done, you come back out here, go to auto hitch, hit enter, and that's going to return the jacks to the last place it was before you pressed auto level. So theoretically, it should be within a couple inches of where you got your truck, got off from your truck. So you could just back right in, hook up, hit all retract, and get on your way. So that's what that is meant to be, and I believe that that's the last one. It is. We can go over that again in person, because obviously we're gonna have to hook this thing up to your truck, so we can show that to you when you come here for pickup day. If that didn't make sense to you, usually it makes more sense when you see it in person. And then the last thing up here, you do have a extra solar plug here. If you wanted to add a solar kit here on the side, it's just a little solar panel that you set out here to collect a little bit of power to charge those batteries. It's the Go Power solar kit, and it's labeled up here on that sticker right there. You do have your cable satellite hookups in here as well, but other than that, I think we're good to move on. Gen exhaust comes out down there. Don't touch the exhaust. Don't block it with anything. Don't want to cause a fire hazard. If you ever need to get to the back of your fridge for any reason, these 2 panels up here, just twist, pull up and out. Usually you don't need to get back there for any reason, but if you ever did, that's how you do it. Again, that's where all the sewer is going to come out right there. Twist your sewer hose onto the end, run it to your sewer pit, and then you're good to open up those valves. Tires and lug nuts will be checked before you come so that you will be ready for the road. And then back here you have the black and the gray tank for the back bathroom here. So black tank again is for the toilet, and gray is for sinks and showers, and that comes out of this drain. And then you have a gray and black pole here and here. Again, drain your black first, that way when you drain the gray, helps to rinse out that sewer hose. Then back here we have that fuel hose, and then your fuel fill for the Gen, as well as, I believe, the fuel system just as a whole. So I believe you fill here for running gas out of the hose, as well as running gas to your generator. So you go here, fill it up, and then inside there is a fuel pump switch that you'll turn on, and that will allow you to pump that fuel out of here and do whatever you're trying to gas up out here, like a car, side-by-side, ATVs, all that fun stuff. Right here, 50 amp power supply. Plug it in, twist to the right, and then lock this collar down on top, and then just flop the top down. Then you have the ladder on the side here. That is 250 pounds capacity. You just pull these pins out right here. set them aside, fold it down, and then slide the pins back in. And then you're allowed to go back up on that roof. Roof is walkable, so you're good to walk on top of there. I just limit it to 1 or 2 people at max. Never want to throw too much weight on your roof. Don't want to risk it. Got the patio back here. Setup will be shown later on in this video. It's not terribly difficult, but I usually like to have 2 people to do that. Makes it go a little faster. 2 outlets right here. Cable satellite hookup on the side if you're gonna throw a TV back here. This right here is a vent for the garage area, which you open up from the inside. This is where you'll crank down your spare tire, slide your tool in here, and that will crank it down for you. You have the spot for the J-port table, which you can plug in here. Sets a little griddle on top, and then you can connect that griddle to your LP connection down here. You plug your LP hose right here and then flip this tab here towards you. That'll open the gas supply up from those front tanks, so you can run gas back here if you wanted to hook up a grill or a griddle. And you have your stairs. These are just the flip and flop ones that go underneath the frame. Then you have these stairs, which are the solid step ones. So these just flip right up into the door frame. And then you adjust the leg height by pushing these pins in, and then you can slide those legs up or down. Just when you're adjusting the leg height, make sure you have this metal here flush with this metal here, because otherwise when you close the door, the base of your door will strike the base of the stairs there, and that can end up bending your door, which nobody wants. If we keep going on, TV mounting area here, just make sure when you're mounting, only do it where that sticker says. It's usually where the stud's at. Then you got the mini fridge out here. Temperature is adjustable by the dial. That's gonna run once you plug your unit in. These 2 circles here are your outside speakers. Then you have your furnace exhaust right here. It does get hot, so don't touch that, and make sure you don't block it either. Don't want to cause any more fire hazards. Other side of the pass-through, and then labeled here are where your low point drains are. See those blue and red hose sticking out of the bottom there are your low point drains. And you'll get to those by taking this panel off here. There's just 2 screws, and then it slides out. And then you get to those 2 low point drains, which you'll use for winterizing. But to open them up, you just pull up on them, and that'll open those valves up, and that will be going over while I explain the winterize process towards the end of the video. Here is that other propane tank. Again, left is open, right is closed. And to switch over, use that switchover valve on the other side. But for now, that should be everything on the exterior. So we will head in and go over the inside. So right when you walk in, down here are the breakers and the fuses. Everything's labeled right there, and it's just a good idea to take extra fuses with you just in case one were to blow out on you. Down here is where your fire extinguisher will be placed. And then up here is that panel that you basically do all your functions from. So you have a couple light switches here. The fuel pump switch is right there to turn that pump on so you can pump the fuel from the hose out there. You have the gen start and stop here. Hold stop to prime, and then hold start until it fires up. Then you have your water heater switches here, electric and gas. For the electric one, make sure that the water heater is full, flip it on, and then 10 to 15 minutes later, you should have hot water. And then for the gas one, make sure your gas supply is open, flip it, make sure that it lights. It has an igniter on it, so the light itself. Once that lights 10 to 15 minutes later, you'll have hot water. Just make sure you don't leave these on, because otherwise you're just heating water that is already hot. So when you're not using hot water, I would shut those off, especially if you're using the gas one, because then you're just burning propane for no reason. Then this switch here is to switch between your black 1 and black 2 tanks when you're trying to get the reading levels for them. So if we go up here, these are the tank levels. So you have gray 2, gray 1. As they fill, these red lights will go on until it says full. So to switch between black 1 and 2, you just flip this switch here. So this would be black 1, and down would be black 2. Both of those are empty right now. H2O is your fresh tank, and then this is your battery level. That always reads full when the unit is plugged in, obviously, because we don't even have any batteries on this unit right now. So if you want an accurate reading of the batteries, I would unplug the unit. Down here, your awning in and out switch, and then your slide out in and out switch. So first we'll run the awning. You just hold out, and then it's gonna start rolling out. Do have a pole right here, so I'm not gonna be able to take it all the way out, but it should be far enough where I can show you how it works. So it'll be all the way out when the black flap on the end of the awning is facing straight down. If you roll over that, it kind of rolls over itself and it creates a little valley on the top. Water can pool up there and stretch the canvas out. So just stop it once that flap at the end is facing straight down. Usually with new awnings, that flap sometimes just gets stuck, so you just kind of have to wait until you see the black metal of the awning, and then you stop. But to pitch the awning one way or the other, just go find this joint. There's one on each side, and then you just pull down on it. But since the awning's not fully extended right now, it'll probably be pretty difficult for me. But it'll be like that basically. But you can usually pull it out a lot easier when the awning's all the way out, and that'll tip the awning this way so that the water runs off the side. And then we'll run that back in. Slide out is pretty much the same deal for running it in and out. Just hold that switch. Once it's all the way out, that slide's gonna stop moving. That's when you know to let go of the switch. So not terribly difficult whatsoever. All right, so we'll just hold out. You can see it start to move. You can run your slide out on the batteries, so you don't need to be plugged in. Make sure when you run your slide outs back in that you check the rooftop for any debris or anything like sticks and stuff, because otherwise when you slide it in, that can end up tearing up the top of your awning. Not the top of your awning, the top of your slide out. So you always want to make sure that you check the top of that for debris. But other than that, that's everything on that panel. And now we will head over to this slide out in your bedroom. And that switch is on the wall, right down here. Same thing, just hold extend. It's gonna start going out. Once it's all the way out, just go ahead and let go of the switch. And you're done. So go back down here, go over the rest of the stuff we got over here. So first we got the radio right here. Power on and off is right there. You have to hold to shut it down. Otherwise you're just muting it. But you have power on. It does have Bluetooth right there if you want to connect your phone to it, play your own music. Speaker zones are right here. So speaker zone 1 are the speakers in the ceiling, and speaker zone 2 are those ones that I showed you outside. To turn them on, just tap them. They turn blue when they're on. Tap them again, they'll turn red to signify that they're off. You can also change the source, so you can play the audio from the TV, I believe. And I believe the CD player is also connected to the TV as well, so you should be able to play DVDs here to the TV. You need your fireplace right here, powered on. Different temps are right here. You just have low output and high output, and then I believe you got different colors. And then a timer here as well. I believe that goes up to 5 hours. It shuts off after you're running for that amount of time. And that is electric, so if you want to save propane and heat this place up, I'd just use the fireplace. If we look over here, keys are on the sink. Jayco does key to like, so these keys unlock everything on the unit. It's got 2 sets. You got your burners right here. Just flip the glass up, and then you just push in here, turn to the left, and then spark to the right. And that will light the burner. Just make sure you only turn the igniter to the right, signified by the arrows here. If you turn it to the left, you can break it. And that sends spark to all 3 burners as well as the oven. So these 3 are the burners, and this last one's the oven. For lighting the oven, that takes up to 5 minutes the first time you do it. It takes a while to push all that gas to the line, so you push in and hold it at the flame marker, and then at the same time, just keep sparking until you see that pilot light down here. Once that comes on, then you're good to turn it up to whatever temperature you wanted. This switch on the side is for your panel light, so that turns on just the light, and then all the way down turns on the oven light as well. And the middle is off. For travel, make sure the glass is folded down. Then up here you got the range hood, as well as the light microwave, pretty self-explanatory on that one. Back here you have your GFCI, so if you need to reset the outlets, just hit that reset key. And then in here is your Jayco owner's manual, as well as typically some appliance manuals. Sometimes there's warranty information in there as well. Lots of the information though has moved online, but that makes it easier to find. If we take a look at your couches, You do have heat, the light here for underneath, and then as well as massage. Same thing for both sides. And then to recline, just pull up on these black handles here, and that pops the chairs out. And then you just kick them back down when you're done. Got your refrigerator right here. This is a propane and electric refrigerator. So you have the on-off switch right here, power it on, and then this screen comes on up here, and then you just hit auto and gas until you see it on auto right here. What auto is, sorry, I'm trying to get a better angle. What auto is it checks for electric current first. If it doesn't find one, then it will automatically switch over to your gas supply. So if you were plugged in but you lost power, then it switches over to gas and that refrigerator will stay cold. And then obviously when you're driving down the road, if it's on auto, it'll switch over to that gas supply so that you can run the fridge while you're driving. And then you have your temp set here. Typically 1's warmest and 9's coldest, and then on and off right there. So pretty simple. Just wherever that dot is signifying if you're on auto or just on gas. But I would just leave it on auto all the time. Right here is the max air fan control. So you have on and off, and that fan is right up here. So you just press on, that's gonna turn it on and open it up. And then obviously if you wanna turn it back off, just hit off, and that'll close it up and turn the fan off. Then you have your thermostat right here. The bottom bar switches between your different modes. You have just the fan, AC, and the furnace. And then back to off again. So if we do the air conditioner, once you get to the setting you want to use, temperature up and down, and that should kick the AC on. There it goes. And if you go to heat, temperature up and down, you don't need it to be at 99. And then the furnace kicks on. It's pretty quiet, but when you turn the furnace off, it runs through a cool down cycle, so it won't shut down right away. 3 or 4 minutes it'll turn off. Furnace heat runs through the floors, and air conditioning runs through the vents like this. Smoke alarm is up there. Just runs out on a little battery, so if it starts chirping at you, just make sure you replace that battery, because you don't want to not be alarmed when there is a fire, or if there's a fire, I should say. In here we have your toilet. It's pedal flush, so you step on the pedal here to flush that down. Light switch is on the wall. This one turns your fan on above you. This one's a manual crank, so just twist to the left to open that hood up. Shower doors, make sure that they're latched down for travel since they are glass. You don't want them to slam and shatter on you. Showers, pretty simple, just like one at home. Bedroom area. You have your AC control in here, same as the other one. This one just doesn't control heat because the other one controls the heat for the entire unit. As you can see, we got the 4 vents in here, so you do have a heated bedroom. Up here, storage, you got your sheets, the built-in vacuum hoses, as well as a water filter. You can install that. Just make sure you put that on after you've de-winterized. You want to make sure that no antifreeze gets on that filter, because antifreeze does ruin those filters. And then before you do winterize, make sure you take the filter back out again. And that filter housing should be directly behind that same door from where the low point drains are located at. Don't think there's anything else in the bedroom. Just other doors that you see latches on, just make sure that they get latched before you leave. I'm gonna go back to the garage. So in here, you do have washer dryer hookups. If you want to add washer dryer on, you can email me back once you receive this video. Usually the salesman would have talked to you about it already, but anyways, if you changed your mind, you can email me back about that. We should be able to get those added on for you before you come pick it up, hopefully. And then tucked up here on the ceiling, you have the awning in and out switch for the rear awning, which is this one right here. It's a Thule, so really nice awning. You just hold out and it's gonna start going out. You just want to make sure that you don't overextend it. So once the arms are facing almost all the way straight, that's when you're gonna stop. We'll just wait. It's kind of hard to see from here, but Sort of see it coming out now. And so that's what it looks like all the way out. I usually leave the arms just with a little bit of bend like that, but that's what that looks like. All right, so up here we have your switches for running that bed lift up and down. So if we hold up, that'll raise both the chairs and the bunk all the way to the top. And you also have a diagram right here that's gonna show you how to lock that bunk in place at the top. Essentially what you gotta do is, once these come down, bring them down all the way, and you see the bed separate from the couch. You'll come here, and just look here, you just flip these down. And you do that on every corner. Kind of hard to see back here. But once those are all in the down position, then if we bring the bunk up, once it gets all the way to the top, it's gonna lock that bunk in place. That way, we could just bring down the chairs if we wanted to. You hear it lock in at the top. Now when I bring these down, just the chairs are gonna come down. While those are coming down, just take a look at the exit window here. So you push out, push it all the way through if you wanna get it out. Otherwise you can prop it open like so. And then to pop the screen out, just pull up on the red tab here, and that pulls the screen out for you. Max air fan right here for the one up there. Same as the other one in the kitchen. Fan on, opens it up and turns it on. Fan closed, shuts it down. And here's that back bathroom, pedal flush toilet, regular old sink, and there's no fan in here, so. For moving these chairs to fold them up, just make sure when you're moving them that these are in the release position, so pulled out like that. If you move them when they're in the lock position, then they kind of bend the bars, so you just want to make sure that it's pulled out like this when you're moving these chairs. Bring them all the way down. And before you sit on them, make sure you fold the legs down on the bottom so that they can actually bear some weight. That should be low enough for me to show you, so make sure you have them released, and you just push up, and it's gonna fold like that. Same thing for this side. Flop them out. And so that's what they look like in the sitting position. Obviously they go down farther. In this box here, you have your manual awning crank for if this were to go out on you. You're just gonna pop that grommet off here on the left corner, and then you can put that tool into there to run the awning in manually. With all that sit on here, the last couple things are just those side vents. So you'll pull, they're a little finicky sometimes. There we go. That pops it open so that if you were running something in here, the exhaust fumes could escape. But with all of that gone over, that should be everything for the inside of the unit. So the last thing is just to show you how the patio works and go over the winterization process. On this unit, you do have a backup camera quick connection up there. If you want to add the backup camera on, you can email me back once you receive this video. Otherwise, typically your salesman's already talked to you about all that stuff. But anyways, if you want to get that added on, email me back, as well as the addition of slide toppers. What slide toppers are going to do for you is cover the tops of your awnings. not the tops you're running, sorry, top of your slide outs, so that when you're bringing them in and out, debris like tree branches, snow, rain isn't going to get stuck on top of that slide out when you move it in and out. And it's going to protect the top of it, protects from leaks, slide out damage. It really just prolongs the life of that slide out. It's a great thing. It's a great protection item, especially if you're planning on keeping this unit for the long haul. It also increases that resale value as well. So it's a great thing to add on. But again, if you want to add any of that stuff on, hopefully we can get that tossed on the deal for you if you email me back once you receive this video, and hopefully it'll be on by the time you come pick it up. But let me know if you have any questions, email me back. Otherwise, bring questions with you to pickup day. Sometimes I do forget to go over things, but other than that, should be everything. Now we'll go over winterization and running that patio. All right, when your door's closed, that's what this is gonna look like, but you'll come to your sides, push, pull, slides out like so. Now this door is very heavy, so I would suggest to use 2 people to do this, but I'm gonna risk it and do it by myself. Alrighty, with it down, that's what it's gonna look like. So first you'll just come around and unbutton the gates. Once they are unbuttoned, start with either side, fold it out like this, and then tip it up. Set this piece down, and then turn this little latch so that it slides in place, and then twist it to the side. And that locks it in. Same thing on this side. We'll flip it up. This piece slides over here. Lock it in. And then that latches right there. And then you got your little patio space set up. And then you have your stairs, which they clip in here and here. So try and do it with one hand. Back them up. Line them up. Press down. Make sure that these have locked in place. And then those stairs are on there. You get to walk up. Your gate up. And you're in. You also have these little screens here, which they just latch on to these little metal bars here, like that, just so that it sort of looks closed off. Got both sides, and then you're done with the patio. So that's easy. Only takes a couple minutes. With all that said, though, I'll go over winterizing now. So to start off your winterize process, make sure that all your tanks are drained out, so gray, black, and fresh have all been empty. You're gonna come out here. First thing you do, turn your bypass to on. That's gonna bypass the water heater, so that when you're running antifreeze through your lines, nothing gets in here. Once this is on bypass, go ahead, drain your water heater out. To do that, let all the pressure off with the pressure relief valve right here. Once it's not hissing anymore, then you got all that pressure out. Take your anode rod out, the 1 1/16 socket. Any water that's left over in there is gonna start spilling out over the side. But anyways, I would still suggest to just have this drained out every time you're not using it, because when you leave the anode rod in there with water, the anode rod degrades over time. It won't last you as long if you were to leave it in there for every trip. So take that out whenever you're not using it. But anyways, once that's drained out, come here, turn to winterize. Changes where the water pump draws from. So now instead of drawing from that fresh tank, it's gonna be drawing from right here. If we go back inside real quick, I'll grab the winterize hose that comes with the unit. Normally I would just make my own, but Jayco is kind enough to just give you one. under the bed, right here. So basically what it is just a hose, but it's cut off so that the pump doesn't need to work as hard. But it's just this end here, and it runs to just a cut off end hose. So go ahead, plug this into here, tighten it down. Once that's tightened down, then you stick that end into your jug of antifreeze, turn the water pump on. It's going to start drawing from that tank of antifreeze and pumping it to your faucets. You'll open up all the hot and cold taps and run it until it's completely pink coming out of both sides. Make sure you plant antifreeze down your drains as well. And do that at every faucet, every tap, every toilet, sink, shower, all that. Do it at the outside shower. Once you're done running it down all the drains and out all the hot and cold sides, then you are set to do your low point drains, which I mentioned earlier. You're going to come in here, take this panel off, and then there's just going to be two pop-up valves that are for your hot and your cold lines. So you just pull up on them like this. That's going to open them up, and then antifreeze is going to start pouring out of the bottom of the unit here into streams from the hot and the cold hose sticking out of the bottom. Once it's completely pink coming out of both sides of those, then you know you've got an antifreeze through the entirety of the lines, and you're good to shut that pump off. Make sure you close those low points off, and then you are all done. Just again double check, make sure your black and gray tanks are all empty as well as the fresh tank, and you should be all set for the winter time. Well, with all of that said, I believe that is everything covered. Obviously sometimes there are things I forget to mention, so if there's any questions that you have, please bring them with you to your pickup date. If you want to add anything on, slide toppers, backup cameras, washer dryer, contact your salesman about doing so. Should be able to get those put on for you. If you have any questions, please bring them with you. We don't want you to leave with anything unanswered, because that's no fun trying to camp when you don't know how everything works. So hopefully this was helpful, but again, bring questions with you, and hope you have a great camping experience. Thank you.